Hello and welcome to another look at an issue of Paragon Publishing's Dreamcast Magazine. This is issue 15 and it was released on the 2nd of November, the year 2000, 16 years ago. And it's still in pristine condition. Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, this is issue 15 and as you can see from the cover, we've got a very nice Fantasy Star Online kind of collage, if you want to call it that, with all the different characters. This is actually probably my favourite cover for this magazine, just because it looks slightly different to all the others, with the nice like pink and purples and everything. It looks quite cool. As well as that, this issue is actually full, absolutely full of new games and reviews and previews. And even though we were getting quite late into the Dreamcast life, as we now know, this magazine didn't really kind of hint at that. Even like less so than previous issues did. So that's probably why I like this one so much. Anyway, enough waffling from me. This is an RPG special, so there is a big multi-page feature on RPGs, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to move this over here so you can see it a little bit better. I'm just going to dive straight in. So the first page is the contents page, as per usual. Editorial there from the editor, Simon Phillips, who was the editor for every single one of these issues. Contents, and then we come to the first news item, which is a big feature on Outrigger, which was an arcade first-person shooter, or third-person, you can change the view. And yeah, so we've got that. I actually really like Outrigger, it's one of my favourite Dreamcast games, one of the best looking as well. Moving on, we've got a little bit of information about Unreal Tournament coming to the Dreamcast. Some information over here about Confidential Mission. And then this little snippet in the bottom left-hand corner is a little bit about the new Virtua Fighter game that had been confirmed at this point, but was still called Virtua Fighter X. And it gives a like a little screenshot here of the website that had been put up for the game, even though there was nothing actually on it at the time. And yeah, so there's not a lot of detail, but it's just a confirmation that the game will be coming out. I believe it did become Virtua Fighter 4, but yeah, Virtua Fighter X. Some more information down here. You may have seen the pictures on the internet of the VMU MP3 player. Now down here there's a little snippet that says that it's been cancelled, so that's a bit sad. Mortal Kombat 5 has been confirmed. It doesn't say that it's confirmed for the Dreamcast though. And more information here about a Futurama game hinted at coming to the Dreamcast. Obviously, again, didn't happen. Moving on. This page, we've got first shots of Sonic Adventure 2 and the UK and world release schedule. Like I said, I usually have a look at these and see if there's anything on there that looks interesting or that never came. But to be honest, at this point, it was pretty much spot on what was coming out. So, okay, this is interesting. We've got a little preview here of a game called Agartha, which we have looked at several times on the Dreamcast Junkyard. And it was a kind of an RPG from the guys who made Toy Commander, No Cliche. And the shots that you'll see on this page are the ones that are generally just on the internet anyway, of a guy with a beard looking around an old house with a torch. The game was never even started. These are mock-ups. This is not running on Dreamcast hardware, as has been confirmed in an interview with the guys from No Cliche who were working on the game. But still, it's a nice look at what was planned for the Dreamcast. Down here we've got a little bit about Illbleed and also Capcom vs SNK 2. Let's carry on. Some more information about new games. This is European Super League, which is dire. That's me doing a thumbs down in case you can't tell. Over here, Fighting Vipers 2 has been confirmed for the Dreamcast, as has Championship Surfer. And then there's a game here called The Grid, which looks a little bit like Outrigger, with almost like Space Harrier style like guns. And that obviously didn't come to the Dreamcast, but it's an interesting concept. And you know, if the Dreamcast had lived on, you know, who knows if we'd seen that or not. And before I move on to some screenshots here of 18-wheeler. Okay, here's another one that never came to the Dreamcast but was wildly rumoured, and even I think it was Dreamcast Monthly had a full cover of the game. It's Grand Prix 3 from Jeff Crammond. These screenshots here, I believe, are from the PC version because there are no Dreamcast screenshots. But at the time, it was like, wow, we're going to get Grand Prix 3 as well as, F1 World Grand Prix, which is a great game. Commandos 2, I believe, was finished, but never released. And another one, Homeworld Cataclysm, didn't come to the Dreamcast. But it's always interesting to look at these kind of things because it gives us a little glimpse at what could have been. If the Dreamcast had lived on for maybe even another year after it, it actually did, a lot of these games could have come to the system. Quite sad, really, but hey ho. What we've got on this page, we've got Army Mintage's Heroes, Sonic Shuffle, and Donald Duck Quack Attack, which is actually not a bad platformer. You might think it's quite kiddie orientated, but it's actually quite good. It's kind of in the same vein to Super Magnetic Neo, so it's worth checking out if you do get the chance. Okay, import news. Big main spread here from the JAMA show in Japan, which is the arcade show, and basically going on about some different games that Sega have hinted at, such as Planet Harriers down here. What have we got over here? We've got this is I've actually done an article about this. This is the Jet Set Radio. City of Milwaukee tried to get it banned because of the connotations of spraying, tags and graffiti all over the place. So have a look on the Dreamcast Junkyard for that. I did a big article on it. I even dug back through the Common Council of Milwaukee, their website, looking for the minutes of the meeting, and they're actually on there. So I found those and put them on the Dreamcast Junkyard, so go and have a look at that if you fancy that. And also some news here about Ricky Martin's Living La Vida Loca coming to not Jet Set Radio, Samba de Amigo, the updated version. Is it 2001 or something? Anyway, moving on. First look at Tomb Raider Chronicles, and also some news here on Planet Ring and Dream Dorobo, or Dorobo, I don't know how you pronounce it. That's another online game that we didn't get, but it has been spotted in a screenshot of some GD-ROMs in Sega's office. Apparently, I've seen that on a video. I think it was on one of PC Wizard's videos. I think it probably was. It was on one of his games that never came, or go and have a look at PC Wizard's channel for that. More previews. Ready to Rumble Round 2. It's good. Didn't make the same impact as the first one did, obviously because we'd already seen it by that point. And Chicken Run, which, believe it or not, is actually quite good, and is kind of like Metal Gear Solid, but you play as the chickens from Chicken Run. Sounds stupid. Believe me, it's actually quite good. Give it a go. Right. As I said at the beginning of this video, there's a lot of previews in this, so it was looking like the future was very bright indeed for the Dreamcast at this point. Sega GT. Here it's called Sega Dream Soccer, but it actually came out as UEFA Dream Soccer, which was the sequel to Sega Worldwide Soccer 2000 Euro Edition. Actually featured female players for the first time in a football game, I believe. Moving on, Jedi Power Battles, Disney's Dinosaur. Neither of them are actually very good. Dino Crisis, PS1 port, and Pod 2, which is possibly one of the worst racing games on the Dreamcast. And then we come to Quake 3 Arena. Nice big preview here. There's a little box out here that talks about the different control methods. So you could use the joypad, the mouse and keyboard, or the Panther, which is the thing with the trackball on it. I'm not even sure if it was released in the UK. I know several people in the United States who've got one, but I've never seen a Panther for the Dreamcast in the UK. Might be wrong, but I usually am. Quake 3 continued, and then an advert here for Simply Games. As you'll see here, Half-Life. More on that in a second. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning. This is quite unusual for Dreamcast Magazine because they didn't usually have big features like this. But this is like a history of RPGs and also a look at forthcoming RPGs for the Dreamcast. So down at the bottom here, on the bottom section of the pages, we've got the RPG timeline, and then the top section is concerned with Dreamcast RPGs. So we've got Skies of Arcadia on the front page, then we've got Grandia 2, Phantasy Star Online, again, the cover. And on the end of the article, we've got some upcoming RPGs. So here we've got Shenmue, Eldorado Gate, 100 Swords, Agartha, and Illbleed. Some of those wouldn't actually be classed as RPGs, but I don't think they knew that back then. Moving on to the review section. Okay, so the Jet Set Radio was actually reviewed, I think, in one of the previous issues of the magazine, but this is the PAL release because we had to wait, obviously, back then for games to be released in Europe. So this is the PAL version of Jet Set Radio, and that received a 92%. I believe it was called Jet Grind Radio in the US because there was a band called Jet Set Satellite, and they didn't want any confusion with the two. I believe that's correct. So that's why it's called Jet Grind Radio in the United States, but Jet Set Radio everywhere else, because we don't know who Jet Set Satellite were in the UK. I certainly didn't anyway until I started looking into that story. Anyway, moving on, Silent Scope. It's a great game, love it. This received 85%. Worth checking that one out if you see it going cheap. Okay, so here we have the world exclusive review of Half-Life. I'm not entirely sure how they reviewed it because it was never complete, as far as I know. So they were obviously using possibly the version that leaked online to review it. And some of the issues that they complain about in the review could possibly have been ironed out by the time the game was completely finished. I might be wrong, I don't know, I'm just speculating. But they mark the game at 81% and also say that things like the loading times in between levels, if you've played the downloaded version, if you've downloaded Half-Life and played it on your Dreamcast, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. There are sections where you get halfway through a level and the game kind of momentarily freezes and then loads the next section. There's also sections where the frame rate dips, and these are indicative of the fact that it wasn't fully complete, and that's what makes me think that they had the same version to review that we all got, us kind of, hoi polloi. So yeah, 81%. If they've got the final version, of which I don't think one exists, it might have been different. However, yeah, 81% for Half-Life. International Track and Field, ESPN from Konami, gets 63%. Metropolis Street Racer. See, there's some really big games actually reviewed in this issue. This is why it's one of my favourite issues. Metropolis Street Racer gets 96%, and they just bang on about how incredible it is, and rightly so. Next, we have Gunbird 2, which receives 51%. And I'm just going to read this little section here that says, summing up, it says, "This game won't entertain anyone except die-hard fans or people with a craving for antiques. Not what we expect from a Dreamcast title." So as I said in my last video, 2D games really got it in the neck from this magazine because they weren't seen as fashionable at the time, even though now we love our 2D games, especially really well animated and well drawn ones. I just don't think that it was a weird crossover time where everything had to be 3D, otherwise it was seen as a bit retro, even though retro is now kind of the in thing. Back then it really, really wasn't. Moving on, we have Sega Extreme Sports. Again, this is a game I quite like. There are multiple sports that you can kind of partake in. You've got quad biking, snowboarding, and I think there's what's it called? There's cycling, mountain biking, and also hang gliding. Hang gliding does not work at all. It's terrible. The controls are utterly, utterly broken. Anyone who's played it will know exactly what I'm talking about. But the rest of the game is great, and it looks fantastic as well. This received 86%. Big advert there for MSR. I wish that wasn't kind of split down the middle. I'd put that in a frame or something. It's fantastic. Bit of trivia for you. This car, for these promo shots, didn't actually have an engine in it. They just used a long exposure for the background and kind of dragged it slowly along. And you can see more information on that on the Dreamcast Junkyard. Just type MSR, you'll find loads of information on there. I did actually nick that from an MSR blog, and I can't remember what it's called for the life of me right now. But yeah, thanks to you. You know who you are. Next one, Super Runabout. Again, another game that I quite like, but gets panned almost universally. Just imagine Crazy Taxi, but not as good. That gets 52%. A bit harsh, I think. Okay, This is the interact section. No import reviews in this section, weirdly. All power reviews. So you've got your mailbox, you've got your reader reviews, you've got Virtual Tennis 96%, Echo the Dolphin 94%, Sega Bass Fishing 69%, and Virtual Striker 2 33%. A little bit harsh, but I can see what the guy's getting at, because it's not really a football game. Nice picture there of Tony Blair with his green eyes. He looks very young there as well. Obviously, sign of the times. Okay, more stuff about going online with the Dreamcast. Nothing really on there that I'm going to mention. Moving on, Dreamcast Solutions, cheats and more cheats, cheats and cheats. And then a full guide to Jet Set Radio and a guide to Virtual Tennis. And we're there for PlayStation 2 magazine, and then we're into the guide again as usual. Obviously, with every issue, this grows, and by sort of like issue 20 or whatever it is, it's massive. It takes up about 9 pages, but at this point, it wasn't that massive. Some CD reviews down here: Kylie Minogue, Blur, Oasis, Buffy the Vampire Slayer DVD, comics, etc. And then we've got the stuff and nonsense section, just the tap. We've got an MP3 player down here, a whack-a-mole game. Look at this mobile phone here. It's a Sony CMD J5 mobile phone. It has WAP, email, timetable, address book, and SMS. Wow. And a bunch of games. Oh, you can also record your own ringtone as well. So there you go. Get yourself one of those bad boys. And that's fine. That's like kind of the end of the magazine, to be honest. Next month we've got Unreal Tournament, Sega GT, Shenmue. You know, it was. You know, you can see why with magazines like this. Back then, it was a really exciting time to have a Dreamcast. Back issues, we've done all of these on the Dreamcast Junkyard. So just go and have a look. Issues 1 through to 14. Obviously, this is 15. The Dream Moment is Dead or Alive 2, and the back cover has Ferrari F355 Challenge. So that is issue 15 of Dreamcast Magazine from November 2000. And as I said, one of my favourite issues of the magazine. And that'll do it. Thanks very much for watching. There will be some scans up on the article on the Dreamcast Junkyard, so if you want to read things more thoroughly yourself rather than just like me flicking through them, then feel free to visit. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Bye.